Our banking system, which had gone through severe stress about 14 or 15 years ago, is today very robust, strong, independent, providing capital, providing resources, driving consumer demand, ensuring adequate liquidity or availability of funds for our startups, for our entrepreneurs, for businesses, often in the public-private partnership mode, therefore catalyzing further investments from the private sector, and rapidly growing our infrastructure story. So airports have doubled from 74 in 2014 to 258 today. We expect it to grow to about 225 in another 5 years. Thank you very much, my good friend, Honorable Minister Benjamin Dawsa. It's been truly wonderful getting to know you during the course of the day. I've enjoyed learning from you the way Sweden is looking at India, the way Sweden is playing a leadership role in encouraging greater partnership between the European Union and India. And I do look forward to welcoming you to India in the near future. More so because I genuinely believe unless you visit India, unless you see the multi-dimensional growth story that is emerging in India, unless you experience the diversity that India has to offer, it's very difficult for a European, very used to the European way of working and living, to both understand the opportunities there and the conditions in which the opportunities can be cashed, can be taken to the next level in terms of action. And just like the Wallenberg family, and thank you very much, Mr. Wallenberg, for your very generous comments and for the important role you and your companies have played in the India growth story, not over a few years, not over a few decades, almost for a century now. And just like the family has learned the Indian way of business and become an integral part of the India story, we would like to invite all the distinguished business leaders of Sweden to also come to experience India, to learn about India. And I'm sure that this tested partnership can really grow much beyond the frontiers of what we have achieved so far. Excellencies, Ambassador Yan and Ambassador Anurag, all the distinguished captains of industry, both from Sweden and India, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to all of you. While I'm here to once again reinforce India's commitment to the Swedish-India partnership, I also see in this an opportunity to share with you what's going on over there. As you very rightly mentioned, we are the fastest growing large economy in the world. But the important element is we are expected to continue to be the fastest growing large economy for the next 2 or 3 decades at least. And I say that with confidence because we have today a very young population. Our average age is only 28.4 years. And for the next 30 years, we'll continue to be young. That young population is today connected through the net. 1 billion internet users. Almost every family has a smartphone and a television at home. This makes for a deep connect with what's happening in the rest of the world. This encourages that young man or woman to aspire for the very best in the world. And it is that aspirational young Indian who's driving this growth story in India. It's the young man and woman maybe living in the villages who may not have boarded a train and got a chance to come into a city. But even sitting in a remotest corner of India, feels so connected with the future, has deep ambitions for a better quality of life for his family, who's willing to work hard to achieve higher incomes, to get the best for his children. It is that youthful power which is driving the Indian economy today. Over the last decade, we have focused our energies to create the right enabling framework, strengthen our macroeconomic fundamentals. We focused on high growth, yet largely had one of the lowest inflation through the decade that India had witnessed for many, many years or possibly since independence. We sport strong foreign exchange reserves and are one of the best for currencies amongst the emerging markets. Our banking system, which had gone through severe stress about 14 or 15 years ago, is today very robust, strong, independent, providing capital, providing resources, driving consumer demand, ensuring adequate liquidity or availability of funds for our startups, for our entrepreneurs, for businesses. We are today in a situation where nearly 16% of global growth is driven by the growth in India. And just try to imagine 1.4 billion Indians working their way up. In fact, I had the privilege of presenting one budget many years ago, and I had concluded by saying that when 1.4 billion Indians, at that time a smaller number, but when 1.4 billion Indians take one step forward, our country takes 1.4 billion steps forward. And that is the spirit in which the India growth story is powering on. We welcome collaborations, we welcome cooperation, we welcome foreign direct investment, we welcome investments into our stock markets, we encourage Indians to save and also provide capital to the growth story. And currently, if one was to look at different opportunities around the world, I can assure you, ladies and gentlemen, the best returns are made in the India growth story. To just set the context, the Indian stock market has grown by about 4.5x in the last 11 years. And as I said earlier in the day today in one of our engagements, the stock market generally doesn't value the past. It's more forward-looking and discounts the future. And today, amongst all the investment opportunities available anywhere in the world, I dare say a market of 1.4 billion aspirational Indians can beat any other opportunity. A growth story of the world's fifth largest economy today, expected to become the third largest 2.5 years from now. A country aspiring to grow from a $4 trillion to a $35 trillion economy in the next 22 years, with a clear vision, a roadmap, how to get there, focusing on inclusive growth, respecting sustainability at the core of our growth story. We are well poised to not only meet the needs of our 1.4 billion people, but we believe we can contribute significantly to the growth story of Europe, to the growth story of Sweden, and work for the shared prosperity of your people as much as the people back home in India. Friends, we are working on 3 tracks as we speak. On the basis of this foundation that has been created, we are investing deeply and significantly in our infrastructure story. Government itself is putting in about $125 billion every year to promote investments in infrastructure. We've doubled our port capacity, rapidly expanding the road and highway networks, expressways. We've more than doubled our power generating capacity. Today, we have one of the world's largest interconnected national grids, which is over 500 gigawatts, expected to become 1,000 gigawatt or a terawatt in the next 5 years, half of which will be clean energy. Every citizen in the country finds opportunities today, either in the investment program for infrastructure or in the investment program going towards promoting the Make in India initiative, so that manufacturing becomes the core of the India growth story, providing jobs to every section of society and people with diverse skills. On the twin track of investment in infrastructure and manufacturing. And with manufacturing, I'd also like to mention the services sector, which is growing at a breakneck speed. Our export in services last year grew by about 13%. And if you see the overall growth in the services sector, it's completely at a breakneck speed, both for domestic needs and the needs of the world. We have over 2,000 global capability centers working in India today. And on the back of all of this, we are seeing a rising middle class. We are seeing greater disposable income for our citizens. Our focus in 11 years has been to make sure that every family has the basic needs taken care of: food, clothing, shelter, good housing, electricity, digital connectivity, water in their homes, good roads connecting the nation and their villages in the rural area, quality healthcare, quality education for the children, skill development to make sure that our young lads are able to prepare themselves to contribute to a vocation of their choice. It's a holistic vision. And this vision is driving consumption, is driving demand for goods and services. Greater incomes, greater demand for goods and services, leading to encouragement for people to invest in industry, in businesses. As investments go into infrastructure and manufacturing, creating more jobs, adding to the income of our families, again leading to further consumption demand. We are currently going through a virtuous cycle of growth, not a vicious cycle, which leads to hurting the environment or hurting equality. We are looking at inclusive and sustainable growth through this virtuous cycle of growth. And I've come here to invite Sweden and Swedish businesses, Swedish investors, to be an integral part of this growth story. We already have a big presence of 280 Swedish companies in India, most of them manufacturing in India. But I do believe the sky is the limit. There's huge potential awaiting all of us. We complement each other. We hardly compete in anything. Sweden and India working as friends, as trusted partners, can transform the Indian economy, Indian growth story, can support the Swedish plans for the future. The India-EU Free Trade Agreement is clearly going to be also a great enabler. And I can assure you my discussions with member states and with the European Commission, particularly Maroš Šefčovič, an absolutely wonderful person and a wonderful but very tough negotiator, are going well. And we do hope to be able to offer to all of you a better pathway, greater opportunities in the future. You spoke about a bit of non-tariff barriers and inconveniences. There are, of course, also a wee bit more of tariffs on the Indian side. A lot of things can be worked upon in a win-win situation where non-tariff barriers and tariff barriers to greater trade, to greater exchange of goods and services, to promoting investments, providing a stable economic condition on both sides, deregulating the huge maze of problems, reducing tensions between the two regions. All of this is under discussion, under negotiation, and I can assure all of you that we are making good progress and are deeply committed to strengthening this partnership, working together. Because as you mentioned, the comments about that you made, we had Rabindranath Tagore, a Nobel Prize winner who was awarded that prize in 1913, say that you cannot cross the seas by merely standing and staring at the waters. You got to swim in the waters to cross the seas. And I assure you that's what we intend to do. Thank you very much.